Hello, everyone, and welcome to the call. It's good to see you here. I'm going to wait for a few minutes for people to come on, and also waiting for a few minutes to see if the Facebook Live will connect. So be patient as you come on. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited to teach you today and help you to become a new you for the new world that we are entering into. Let me just stop the screen share for a second. Facebook Live. Well, we'll be lucky if it goes on. It's processing. So with all the technology things happening these days, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't work. So I'm going to go on without that. So thank you so much for being on the call. I really want to honor your time today and really get started on time. So we might have some people joining us, but welcome to those of you that are on the call today already. So, you know, when all of this started happening with everything that's happening in the world right now, I just really thought, you know, how can I help people? How can I help people with what I know? Because I know that we're entering a new world and the world will never be the same. And in a way, we have to learn how to become new ourselves in order to get into this new world successfully and really thrive. There's key concepts that you need to understand in order to thrive. So over the next 2 days, I'm going to be sharing this amazing work that I'm honored to be able to share with you. And I'm just so happy that you're here. And let's get started. Let me get my technology working here. So I love this quote. I've loved it for a really long time. I first heard it when I was doing some personal development work. And it's in times of change, learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. How true is this right now? And you know what Eric Hoffer means by learners? He means people that are willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn in order to keep going in the times that we're in, or as the times change. So such an awesome quote for what we're going through, and I just really honor you for being here and being willing to learn in a different way. So there's a new you ready to emerge and take center stage, or is there? Are you ready? And it's a possibility for you to do that. It's a great opportunity. I feel like it's a golden opportunity for us to be able to look within and see. So the question is, how will you live in this new world? And how will you handle the changes that are happening? And what do you need to learn in order to understand yourself better and the world better and how to thrive? And do you have these tools to create a new model of success for yourself, for your business, in all areas of your life? Because as we've already noticed, everything is changing. How we are in the world is already changed. So you want to have tools to be able to prepare yourself for this, to be successful. So in this masterclass, you're going to learn 8 different things. First of all, to shift your internal set point in order to get what you want. And then to change your inner programming to work for you versus against you. To prepare yourself now in mind and body for a new world that you're going to be entering into. To remain in control and in charge of yourself no matter the outside circumstances. To align yourself with the results that you desire. To increase your inner strength and self-confidence, to make a decision to live and create your life in a new way for the new world, and ultimately to become bulletproof, not affected by the outside, because you're in control from the inside out of yourself and of your life. Does that sound awesome? So let's get started. Now, we all have the opportunity every single day, every single moment of every day. And right now, we have an opportunity to choose the uncertainty and to live in fear, or to take this as an opportunity. And which are you going to choose? Have you already decided which one you're choosing? So think about that really, really seriously. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about myself so you know who's talking to you today if you don't already know me. I'm Dr. Shelley Nash, and I'm a results-focused success coach, director of Nash 2020 Consulting, and a certified Proctor Gallagher consultant. So that means I work directly with Bob Proctor, if you know him from the movie The Secret, and Sandy Gallagher, who is also co-founder of the company. And I work with teaching my clients some of his methods along with everything else that I know throughout my lifetime and personal development and career. So previously to this, I was a holistic chiropractor, and I did a lot of different holistic methods for 25 years or more, and I'm still licensed chiropractor, but no longer practicing. And really with chiropractic, what I was fascinated about was always getting to the source of the problem, to getting to the root cause. And you know, we define that as the nervous system, but the nervous system is ultimately connected to, you know, innate intelligence and the universe and that flow of energy that's always coming to and through you. So as a chiropractor, our job was to release the interference to the energy, the healing power that's always flowing to and through you. So what I do now is really to help you with your thinking, which is also part of the source. And you're going to hear more about that. So it's all in alignment. And previously to being a holistic chiropractor, I was a massage therapist. I worked a lot with the body-mind healing and a lot of the body-mind connection. I started studying the mind a long, long time ago, and with personal development and also in the different healing modalities that I did. And then in a lifetime previous to that, I have a degree in textiles and clothing and home economics, and I did work in that for several years. I love that. I still love it. I still love textiles and fashion and texture of fabrics. And so it's actually come full circle, because you'll hear me talk tomorrow about self-image, and self-image is really related to how we look on the outside and how we feel on the inside. So I feel like my career has come full circle in talking about all of these things that I've been interested in. And so the real thing that I want to impress upon you is that I didn't know what I didn't know. And here I had all this education, I had all this knowledge, and still there was a lot that I didn't know, but I didn't know it. We're always learning, but I thought I really knew everything there was to know about the body mind, about how we think. I really did. I thought I knew it all, and I just didn't. But one day I found myself really looking out my window and really feeling very stuck. This was several years ago, and I knew that I was capable. I knew I had big goals. I didn't know exactly how to get them though. And I figured out that I needed to surround myself with different people in order to be in a different vibration, but I still learned how to almost become somebody else, but still be myself in order to get, you know, some of the dreams that I had. So I like to say I was here and I wanted to go here, but I didn't know how to get it. And, you know, through that questioning, I also started looking into getting a mentor, getting someone to help me, coach me, support me along this path that had that was successful already in this. And so one thing led to another. I found myself about 5 years ago, you know, serendipitously meeting Bob Proctor at a personal development class that I was in, getting my photo taken with him, being really excited about that, but really didn't know what that was going to do for me in my life at that time. It was super exciting. And so then several years later, I found myself fully committed to working with him as my mentor and in the hot seat with him, and him sitting right in front of me asking me, what do you want? What do you really want? And you can kind of see the look of excitement and terror on my face as I'm sitting with him and really divulging all my dreams, and probably for the first time telling somebody what I really wanted. And then last year I had the opportunity to be with Bob and Sandy at a seminar they call Paradigm Shift. Sandy is the co-founder of the company and has joined him within the last 15 years as part of his company. And, you know, I study every single day with Bob. I study, I go to lots of trainings. I'm a constant learner. Remember that quote we talked about in the beginning? The learners will inherit the earth, and the learned will be beautifully equipped for a world that no longer exists. So there's so much to learn. We have to keep learning and growing. That's what life is about. And the thing is that when I took a deep dive in to study with Bob Proctor, I didn't really know anything about him. I knew he was in the movie The Secret, and I didn't know much about his past, but I did know he'd been doing it for a really long time, like almost 60 years now. And he'd helped thousands and thousands of people. He'd helped companies be successful. And if anybody could help me, I figured he could. So, but he had this key that I didn't know that I was missing. And what I really found out, that it was the foundation that needs to be in place for anyone to achieve really long lasting success, like permanent success. And so once I learned some of this information from Bob, I just really have enjoyed helping my clients really unlock these secrets for themselves so that they can get anything they want in their life, relationships, business, and really, because I was missing it for so many years, I just want to help my clients get the information faster, sooner, so that they can have success in their life sooner. And remember, I didn't know what I didn't know. And that is still true for me. I'm still learning, I'm still growing, but I know a lot now. And I know a lot about how the body and the mind work together to get the results that you want. So that's what we're going to take a deep dive in today. And so thanks. Hold on to your seats. It'll be kind of a roller coaster, and I'm excited to share all of this with you. So first step is imagine what you want and where you're going. Like, you have to have a goal in order to grow. If you just went outside of your house, if you could, and if you were going somewhere, you know, if you didn't know where you're going, you would just aimlessly drive around in circles, you know, without a plan of where you're going. So the same is true for all areas of your life. You have to know where you're going. And that's the only way that we grow, that we get somewhere in our lives. So that's the first step. And then we're going to go through what we're learning today in the master class. You have to learn to shift your internal set point in order to get what you want. So the truth is that really you've been programmed, and you've been programmed for a really long time. And we've all been programmed. We've been programmed in our early life, and we react and we behave out of how we're programmed. So we're going to learn to shift and want to shift this set point that you have within inside of yourself in order to get what you want. And so the truth is also that there's a part of your mind that's holding you back from reaching your goal. And you've been unaware of this aspect of your mind for most of your life. And it's probably, you know, set you up for feeling really frustrated at times, not understanding what's going on, not understanding how to get what you want to get, if you can relate to that. So what we call that part of your mind is a paradigm. Now, that was a big fancy word that I didn't really understand, and frankly, it kind of blocked me for a while because I didn't understand what the word meant. But here's what a paradigm actually is when we're talking about it, is that it's a mental program. A mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior, our habits, what we do every single day. We wake up, we do the same thing over and over again. So it's a multitude of habits and thought processes that are almost neurologically wired in our brains. And the deal is with this is that almost all of our behavior comes from habit, comes from ways of being that are neurologically wired in our mind. So this is the problem. When we're asked what the mind looks like, we get this: nothing, nada, no thing. We don't know what the mind looks like. When we're asked what the mind looks like, we might say, well, is it the brain? Does it look like the brain? Well, the brain isn't the mind. The brain is like a neurological switching station that helps your body run in an efficient manner, but it's not the mind. So we're going to study the mind. The mind is more movement. The mind is in all parts of the body. So this is a problem that we didn't know what the mind looks like. So this is an example. So think about your refrigerator. Think about what color is. Maybe now you can see it, but think about it in your mind. Is it silver? Is it black? Is it white? Is it some other random color like olive? Or and see your refrigerator in your mind. And then see, is it a side-by-side refrigerator? Is it a top and bottom refrigerator? Just really go to your kitchen in your mind and see your refrigerator. You can do it, right? Because you've been there so many times. You know exactly how it looks in your mind. You can reproduce that picture. And so we think in pictures. Anything that we're going to do, we think in a picture. We see ourselves doing it first with a picture in our mind. But we don't have a picture for the mind exactly. So if thinking requires pictures and we don't have a picture of the mind, this is a problem. And we've never had a picture of the mind in our entire life, so we've been at a loss. Once you learn this, you'll realize you'll wish you could teach this to your kids, or you'll wish you knew it when you were younger, because it's really powerful. So let's take a look at your mind. Now we're heading down a deep dive, a deep path into this information. So this is Dr. Thurman Fleet in 1934. He was very interested in the healing and holistic health, and actually he was a chiropractor like myself. In 1934, think about this, he was interested in holistic health, and he said that we need a picture of the mind. He stated the mind is activity, not a thing. No one has ever seen the mind. So in order to gain clarity and eliminate confusion, I will create an image that we can work with. And this image is what we affectionately call the stick figure. This is what he created back in 1934. It has aspects to the mind, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The big circle represents the mind, the small circle represents the body, but really the whole image is the mind because it works together. And Bob Proctor says that this is the most valuable idea I've ever learned. And after learning it for the last 3 years, I would have to agree. This is the secret, this is the key, this is the entire missing link that I did not understand, that put all the pieces together for me to be able to really help my clients and help teach this to you and, you know, to whomever wants to learn it. It looks really simple, and it is, although there's many layers to this that I'm going to go into to really explain to you how this stick figure works. So for right now, just think of yourself as the stick figure. And it's easiest to think of the big circle as being your head and the small circle being your body, like it is. But just always remember the entire image is your mind. So how do you create results? So our conscious mind is connected to the outside world. And what I'm saying right now, just think about it based on what's happening in the world. So we have seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching from our conscious level of mind. Our conscious mind is like our thinking mind. It's our logical mind, our reasoning mind. We also have the ability to accept ideas in our conscious mind or reject ideas in your conscious mind. This is so important. I tell my clients to guard their mind at this time. Guard your mind from things that you do not want to come into your rest of your energy system, rest of your energy field. And you're going to understand that in a second. So your conscious mind has the ability to accept, reject. It's about thinking. It's connected to the outside world. Your subconscious mind is your feeling part of your mind. It has to do with emotions. It is, you could think of it as your heart center, your subconscious mind. We're mostly unconscious of our subconscious mind. And then we have our body, which basically acts on what's impressed from the subconscious mind into the body. So, and then we act according to what's in our subconscious mind, what's in our feeling mind. Our behaviors and actions go out into the world, and that produces a result, because we have the law of opposites attract, or what you put out comes back to you. So whatever you're putting out there is going to come back in equal and opposite reaction. So that's how the system of the stick figure really works. But I failed to mention that the subconscious mind can only accept. It has no ability to reject. And also in the subconscious mind, there is no time or space, and anything that you decide to implant in your subconscious mind, the subconscious mind considers it real. So this is where you have the ability to program yourself. And that's what we want to do. We want to change the unconscious programming that's in the subconscious mind from the paradigm we've had for a really long time, and we want to reprogram ourselves in the subconscious mind. So if you think of it, you're connected to the outside world from these antennas on your conscious mind. And then you can accept or reject ideas. So say we're just talking about the news right now. You don't want to listen to the news and get emotionally involved with the news, because as soon as you get emotionally involved with the news, you've impressed that into your subconscious mind, which cannot reject the emotional involvement, and then you've taken that emotional and got emotionally involved with it. Anything that you get emotionally involved with, you create, or you have that energy with. So you're constantly in that loop of the emotion of what's going on in the outside world. So that's why I like to think of a line between the conscious and the subconscious mind as the lid to my subconscious mind, and I have the ability to open that and close it at will. And that's what we call guarding your mind. So you can watch the news from the level of your conscious mind, just don't get emotionally involved. And what's really good is to set some time limits on that. I'm going to watch the news for 10 minutes, then I'm going to shut it off. I'm going to watch just to find out what I need to know, and then I'm going to shut it off. So you really have to start asking yourself, what do I get emotionally involved with? Because you'll notice that it tends to run around and cause negative results if you get emotionally involved in things that aren't going to serve you towards getting your goals. I know that was a lot. So the deal is, you were programmed very early on in your little life, from 0 to 5, 6 years old. And this is what your stick figure looks like when you're younger. You have only the subconscious mind, and your conscious mind starts to develop as you're younger. But so this is what they say when you're like a sponge. So whatever is around you, information comes into your subconscious mind, ideas, rules, values, beliefs, and it creates a paradigm in you when you're very young of all these ideas, rules, values, and beliefs that aren't even yours. You just accept them because the conscious mind cannot reject. So you just accept whatever's around you. When you're born, you have genetic programming as well. But this is the programming that comes from the environment. And it's from teachers, from parents, from the culture that you're living in. You just accept it. So then when you do have a conscious mind, maybe 6 or 7 years old, you start to becoming more conscious. But by the time you're 18 years old, pretty much 96 to 98% of all your habits, values, beliefs, self-image is formed in you. It's neurologically formed in you. And unless, if you don't like what's formed in you, you have to take conscious control to change it. Otherwise, you'll be living the rest of your life out of everything that was implanted in you that wasn't even your choice, that somebody else believed, that your grandparents believed, and it didn't even really help them. They were just in this pattern, didn't understand it, and so now it's actually, this information is what Bob Proctor put together to help us understand how we work and understand how we can take charge and change things for our lives. Speaking of that, we have to change this inner programming to work for us versus against us. And so we have to learn to implant in our subconscious mind what we want. and the statements that we want, and new beliefs about ourselves, who we are, about the world and what's possible. And we do this with repetition, constant spaced repetition, and elite level coaching and accountability and support. That's the way you change your subconscious mind. Now, there's two ways to change the subconscious mind. That's the one way. And the reason we need accountability and support is because that's neurologically wired. And for most people, in fact, anyone I know, is not able to override their paradigm completely by themselves, because they get stuck and then they have to go to somebody for support to get unstuck. No matter how much you know, even Bob Proctor has accountability and support to keep him from believing the old paradigm. So the other way that the paradigm is changed is through a highly emotional event. Now, usually highly emotional events are negative, like divorce, separation, death, dealing with loss of a loved one. 9/11 was a highly emotional event. People that were in New York during 9/11 made choices to do things different in their life because of being there, because of seeing what they saw. Now, we find ourselves in a very interesting time. We are currently in a highly emotional event. We've never, ever in the life of this planet that we know of had this particular situation. It's a big deal. It is a huge deal. It's a highly emotional event. And many, many people will unconsciously make decisions to change their life, or they'll unconsciously make decisions to keep doing the same thing over and over again because they don't know. So I just look at this as a golden opportunity to, for one, learn about repetition, learn about accountability and support, and also realize that you can change just because you decide to during this highly emotional time, because you decide you want something new, you want something different. You're going to change and finally be the person you're meant to be. So also back to the stick figure, we have something that's called the knowing doing gap. Now this is what, for myself, I was in, because a lot of us are in, actually, because in the United States, at least, we value education. And I think it's valued pretty much all over the world, but we really value higher education. And the more education you have, you should be the more money that you make. And it's not true. The more you know doesn't necessarily mean the more you will do, the more better results you will have. We have this thing that's called the gap, what's in between knowing and doing. We know how to do things at the conscious level of our mind. That's the knowing part of our mind. But yet we're not doing it. The subconscious level of the mind is what's impressed upon our behaviors and allows us to do what we're going to do. But if we don't know how to override what's in the subconscious mind that's preventing us from doing what we want to do, then we're stuck doing the same old thing. So we know, and we just don't do it. So a lot of this you can see in, say, for example, people going on a diet. They know what to eat, they know what to do to lose weight, and yet, you know, a piece of chocolate cake comes by and they eat it, and then, but they didn't really want to. So why did they eat it? Because something was running in their subconscious mind and said, oh, well, it won't make any difference, but blah, blah, blah. That's probably what their parents said or something. And even if you're trying to maintain your health, you know what to do, sometimes we don't always do it. And think of it with exercise. You start an exercise plan and you're really excited about it for a month or 2 or 3, and then it goes to the wayside because you haven't changed things from the level of your thinking mind. And so your subconscious mind, the patterns that you've had all your life, takes over. So in order to get the knowing doing gap smaller, we have to shift the thinking, the unconscious thinking in the subconscious mind to be in alignment with what we want. And that is something that we work on pretty much on a continual basis. So yeah, so the rest of that is, again, just to remind you how it works. So conscious mind is impressed on the subconscious mind, which is impressed on the body, which then gets in a certain vibration, and it then takes a behavior based on what the subconscious mind tells it, and then does actions and result. So if your conscious mind is thinking, I'm eating healthy, I'm working out, I'm doing all this stuff, but your subconscious mind is not in alignment with that, and it's like, oh, well, you know, we're stuck inside, you know, I need something to help me get through time. I'm just going to eat this and I'll start working out more after I get out of the situation. And it's not even that like conscious to you, it's just going on inside. And so you're not taking the actions that you want to take in your conscious mind because all the other stuff is holding you back. I hope that made sense. So that the ultimate to this is that if you're changing your behavior, the results are only temporary. So if you're changing the actions of your body, the results are temporary because you haven't gone to the source. Back to my chiropractic philosophy, going to the source, going to the root cause of why you have a certain behavior. You have to go to the root cause. If you just try to force the behavior to change, it won't stay that way. You know, many people that have been on a diet and have stopped, many people that have started workout programs and have stopped, many people that have tried new jobs and have stopped. And then the opposite of that is true. When you change your thinking, the result then become permanent. So when you start to think differently, when you start to tell yourself different things within your subconscious mind, changing those old belief patterns in your subconscious mind, your results become more and more permanent over time as you start to override what's not serving you in your subconscious mind. So number 3, prepare yourself now in mind and body for the new world you will be entering. So again, as I said, I feel like this is a golden opportunity that you have been given, we've all been given, to really take a huge time out and ask ourselves, what do I really want? Am I doing what I really want to do, what I really love to do? Am I living my purpose? What the heck is my purpose anyway? All of us were born for a reason. We have something that we're here to do. And are we doing it? And is this the time, is this the wake-up call for you and for me to finally say, enough's enough, I need to do what I'm meant to do. And maybe you don't know what you're meant to do, but that's okay, because it's a discovery process. And a clue to that is, what do you love? What do you love? They always say, like, if you do what you love, the money will come. And a lot of people have a belief that that's not true. And maybe if you do what you love, it'll free you up to be satisfied and happy and fulfilled, so that the way you make money is in a different way, but it also becomes what you love as well. So it can be what you love that you make money from, or it can be doing what you love puts you in a different vibration, so you can make money even in your current job. So that's just a clue to finding your purpose. But just, it's time to take a moment and ask yourself, is this my time? Am I being called to finally do what I'm meant to do? Okay, the road to freedom. We're diving deeper. So the road to freedom is really understanding how the stick figure works. And this we call the terror barrier. And I'm going to go into this in detail. So not to worry, it looks pretty confusing right there. But you see that when you get through all these phases, you can break through to freedom. And so it's really, really important right now that we understand the 4 stages of fear. When all of this started happening, there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of panic, because people didn't really understand fear. As we go through this, you'll start to learn what fear does to you and why you really want to be able to understand it, get through it, shift yourself out of it very quickly. So the first aspect of the 4 stages of fear is being stuck. How many of you have ever been stuck? Most people have. So this is what's happening. So you think of yourself as the stick figure, and basically you have energy. There's energy in the world. There's energy all around us, and it's surrounding us. There, you could call it the power of the universe, God, whatever. There's infinite amount of energy coming to us, coming through us. That's how we live. And so you're thinking X type thoughts in your conscious mind. And whatever you think in your conscious mind, unless you reject it, is impressed onto the subconscious mind. So you're thinking X type thoughts in your conscious mind, and then you're feeling feelings and emotions based on what you're thinking in your conscious mind. And that's impressed on your body. Your body starts vibrating in an X type vibration, and thus you get an X type result. This is what we also call insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same result. And it also feels like you're super stuck. You can't get anywhere. You're just like living the same life over and over again. Not very comfortable. So step 2, this is what happens. So you're so uncomfortable, you think, I have to do something different. And you think of an idea. And you get an idea of something you could do, and it comes from the outside. You start thinking about it, and you keep thinking about it and thinking about it, but you just think about it, and you don't really get emotionally involved with it. So it just stays in your conscious mind. You don't impress it into your subconscious mind. You don't feel emotionally involved with it. So you still have the X vibration that you had when you were stuck. And then that vibration goes into your body, goes out into the world, and you create the same thing over and over again, even though you had this idea. So this is also a very frustrating place to be, even more frustrating, because you're starting to have ideas of things you could do, but you're not taking action on it, and then you're not getting it, and then it feels really sad. So then you almost go back to what we call the first phase, which is bondage. And then we get to the third stage, which is the terror barrier, bumping up against the terror barrier. And so this, what happens now is you have the why idea in your conscious mind, and you do get emotionally involved with it. You start getting really excited about the possibility of this idea, about creating this new business, creating something new, a new relationship. You start to get really emotionally involved with it. And so in the level of your subconscious mind, you have the new idea, which is why. You also have the old X pattern of thinking, the habits, behaviors, of values and beliefs that you had before. And so they start churning around in your subconscious mind, and it becomes really uncomfortable. It feels like chaos. It just also, you start to get afraid. So in the level of the conscious mind, you see on the left-hand side, if you are worrying or having self-doubt, that can be impressed into the subconscious mind as fear. And then fear turns into the anxiety in the body. The fear becomes a vibration of anxiety in the body, and it just becomes really, really uncomfortable. So anytime you're going for a big goal in your life, you will feel nauseous, you will feel scared, and you have the opportunity to hit up against this terror barrier, this wall. And most people don't like that feeling, don't like the anxiety, and so they go back, they bounce right back, and they actually go way back to bondage, the comfort zone, because they're so uncomfortable being uncomfortable. And so they go right back to bondage, and they say, I'll just hang out here for a while until it gets too uncomfortable again, until they get an idea. Oh, maybe I should do something else, and get an idea to do something else. But then as soon as they start having that idea, and getting so uncomfortable, they bounce right back again. So you guys have all heard of, in order to get out of the comfort zone, you have to start being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And we're going to keep going through this at another level. So I will go to the next phase of freedom. So as you begin to understand how this is working, as you begin to go to accept the idea that this uncomfortable vibration is part of the process of getting through the barrier into the freedom that you desire, then you allow yourself to just go through it, to be able to feel the uncomfortableness and go through it anyway, and then you have a success. Maybe it's a small success, but you have that success, and you feel freedom, and you feel excited, and you've had the experience of going through that terror barrier. Now, once you're in freedom, it doesn't mean you're like free forever. It never comes up again, because as we're setting goals, we want to set big goals. And so as you set goals, every time you get up against your big goal, you're going to have that terror barrier come up again. And in fact, that's how you know you have a good goal, when you feel nauseous and scared. Because if you don't feel nauseous and scared, it's not a goal that's worthy of you. You're not going to grow in a big enough way in your life if you're not in that scared, nauseous place. So the thing about it, though, is the more you go through the terror barrier, the more comfortable it becomes, and the easier it becomes to go through it over and over again. So that is the process of understanding the terror barrier. Now, the next part of this, we'll just go into fear. Fear and growth really go hand in hand. You don't really grow without fear. And so I'm going to move myself to read this. When you courageously face the thing you fear, you automatically experience the growth you've been seeking. So you've got to experience fear to have the growth. If you really want to, make some changes in your life, just always know you understand that I got this. I got my back. I'm going to be with myself, and you got support to do it. So the next phase of this is super important for our time right now. And this is energy really is, sorry. Didn't want to go that fast. So energy is always coming to and through you, and you really always have a choice. You have a choice of, are you going to go down this negative path, or are you going to go down a positive path? So we're going to go deeply into this. In the first part, we're going to go through the negative aspect of this. And it's really the cycle of disintegration. And ignorance does not mean stupid in this sense. It just means not knowing what you don't know, not knowing about this process. And so when you don't know it, how it's working, you have a tendency to stay stuck in it. So worry and doubt live on the level of the conscious mind. Worry and doubt are more of a negative polarity. And when you have worry and doubt, remember the conscious mind, you can accept or reject ideas. So, but if you're not rejecting worry and doubt, if you're staying in worry and doubt for long periods of time, it's going to eventually turn into fear, and you're going to feel fear. And that's going to be emotionally involved with fear in the subconscious level of your mind. You're going to have a lot of negative chatter going in through your mind about what you're worrying and doubting. And then when you stay in fear long enough, you might have anxiety or the feeling of anxiousness within your body, because that's what the vibration is. So our feelings are our conscious awareness of the vibration we're in. That's the definition of feelings. Feelings are our conscious awareness of the vibration our body is in. So usually we notice that our body doesn't feel quite right, and then we consciously label it sad, angry, frustrated, depressed, whatever. So our feelings are our conscious awareness of the vibration our body is in. And when our body is in anxiety, it's normally suppressed. We don't like that feeling, so we suppress it. We hold it inside. We don't talk about it. It becomes depression. And then it becomes dis-ease, disharmony, disintegration. We always hyphenate dis-ease because it's not a disease process, it's dis-ease, it's out of harmony. So when you're in this cycle and you're not changing it, then you're just going to go back, loop back up to worry and doubt, fear, anxiety, depression, dis-ease, disharmony. Most people live their entire lives in this negative cycle, in this negative loop, and never get out of it because they are ignorant. They don't know about it. They don't know how it works. They don't know what else to do. And so the opposite of this is knowledge. And knowledge in this way is not really knowledge of studying kind of knowledge, going to school type of knowledge. Knowledge in this form is knowledge of self, knowledge of the body, mind, spirit, body, mind, actions, how to get results. So it's that kind of knowledge, and it's really the way to creation. You see the path. But in the conscious level of the mind, it's understanding. You have an understanding of how you work body in the world. And so you only get understanding of yourself through study of the right kind of materials that are going to help you to understand yourself. And when you understand yourself, begin to understand yourself, you can have more faith in the process of how creation happens. And what you'll notice is that faith and fear both live in the subconscious mind. They're both related to the unknown. Fear of the unknown, faith of the unknown, but one is a negative polarity, one's a positive polarity. So which would you rather choose? And when you have enough faith in how you can create what you want to create, it creates a state of well-being in your body. You're calm, you're at ease, but you're also excited. It's a form of acceleration and expression. You express happiness and you express positive feelings and positive emotions. You're very outgoing, you know, when you're feeling good, when you're feeling well-being. And it also creates this at ease, this sense of calm. And really the only way that you can and ultimately create, get in a very creative state when you're in this positive polarity. And creation really happens in the level of the subconscious mind, is where you connect to your intuition, and where you connect to your inspiration and your imagination. And I love this in the world right now too, because you can see that. I'm going to go back for a second. You can see what happened, that when you get into worry and doubt about the outside world and you impress it and you get into fear, the worst thing you can do for your health is fear, because it keeps you in this negative vibration of disintegration and disharmony, which is very bad for the immune system. So you have the opportunity to switch it to faith, well-being, acceleration, and creation. And it's interesting in the world because you've probably noticed that people are being very creative right now. And you can see that there was originally a lot of fear, but now the fear is kind of shifting. People are relying more on their faith, and they're starting to have very creative ideas for how they're doing business. And so it's a very positive feeling, because I can tell that there's positive movement, that people are tapping into creation, so more than they're tapping into fear right now. So just ask yourself, where are you in this? Are you more into fear, or are you more into faith and creating new ideas? It's such a powerful way for us to look at what's happening in the world. And so you really want to be able to remain in control and in charge of yourself, no matter the outside circumstances. Now, think of this guy standing on the dock as the stick figure. And on the top of his head are those antennas attaching, connecting to the outside world. And he can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch the outside world. And also be able to just take in what he wants to take in, or she wants to take in. So you want to be able to really guard your mind, really choose what you take in to yourself, but also learn how you work in this system of your thinking, feeling, actions, behaviors, and results, so that you can know that without a shadow of doubt, you can handle anything that you're given in life, that you're in charge of yourself, no matter what's going on. If you think about it, the only thing you're ever completely in charge of is yourself. The only thing you can ever completely control is yourself, and is your attitude. And when you're not controlling yourself, when you're living from the outside in, it tends to feel chaotic, it tends to feel disorganized and anxious, and you probably have felt that over this last month. So our goal is to get you to really be in charge from the inside out. So why do we get the same results over and over again? This is kind of going back to the stuckness, but it's described in a little bit different ways. So you see that flashing R, it was kind of flashing, not flashing anymore, but the R is your results. So when you focus on your current results are actually based on what you've been thinking and feeling over the last several weeks or month. So your current results are based on the past. So if you keep focused on the results, the current results, what happens, we paid attention to the current result, and then we think about the current result. We have feelings about the current result, and then we get the same results over and over and over again because because our paradigm is in control of our thinking. And we're thinking about the past result, which was the old thinking. So in order to change out of this pattern, that's why we have a goal. We want to have think about a new result. And you can think about this now. It's probably happening for you. What are you focused on right now? Are you focused on your bank balance? Are you focused on the food that's available in the grocery stores or the lack of TP? It's like, what are you focused on? Are you focused on your business? Are you focused on what you want in the future? Or are you focused on what's happening right now? Because the more you just keep your focus on what's happening right now, the more you're just going to keep recreating more of the same. And it's not to deny what's happening right now, but it's to say, I see what's happening right now, and what I choose is something different. I choose to now live my life in a different way. I choose to go for this goal that I've always wanted to go for. I choose to think a different way, to feel a different way, so that I'm going to have a better life, even in times of struggle and even in times of trauma like this. So our results that we have in our life are always a reflection of what's going on inside of us, and mostly a reflection of what's going on in our subconscious mind, our limiting beliefs, our false beliefs, the values, our self-image, the truth about ourselves that we hold inside that may not even be true. So everything that's going on inside of you. So in a way, what you see on the outside, you can gauge what's going on in the inside of yourself. You know, you can look at your results and go, something must be off, because everything is always a reflection of what's going on inside. All right, that was a lot. Whew. So in this masterclass, what you've learned so far, and we're going to have we're on tomorrow too to learn the rest of this. So what we talked about today is to shift your internal set point in order to get what you want. You have to begin to recognize you have a set point, a place you've been operating from, and then be able to shift it to get a different result, to get what you really want. And then to learn to change this inner programming that's not working for you and it's been in fact working against you, to work for you. Prepare yourself now for the mind, in mind and body, for the new world that you're going to be entering, that this is the golden opportunity for you to really begin to understand this, really begin to understand yourself, so that you are equipped, with everything that you need for the world that we don't know what it's going to be like. But no matter what it's like, you will be equipped. I look at this girl to the left, we also talked about, you got to have a goal. You got to have something you're going for, or you're just going to go around in circles. And you want to remain in control and in charge of yourself, no matter the outside circumstances. As soon as you start letting the outside circumstances control you, you're sunk, you're lost. This is a super important thing to begin to learn how to do. And a lot of times we hear about inside out right now, that's kind of a thing, but we don't always know how to do it. And that's what I'm here to teach you, how to actually do that, live from the inside out, and why that's so powerful. We also we hear the word mindset, change your mindset, sort of like change your attitude. People don't know how to change their attitude, and they don't really know how to change their mindset. And really, to change your mindset, you have to begin by setting your mind, setting a goal, deciding what you want. A lot of different shifting in how you're thinking. So tomorrow, I'm hoping you're going to be coming back to learn the rest of this, but we're going to learn more about aligning yourself with the results that you really desire. increasing your inner strength and self-confidence. We're going to be talking a lot about self-image, and that the image you hold of yourself sets the boundary of anything that you can accomplish. And you should always be working on your self-image as you're going for bigger and bigger goals. Because if the self-image sets the boundary of all you can accomplish, then it naturally extends that you need to increase your self-image to get the goal that you want. So we'll take a deep dive into that tomorrow. We're actually going to do a little bit of a guided meditation tomorrow to help you with that. And then you want to make a decision to live and create your life in a new way for the new world that you're going to enter into. Because, you know, in order to change something, it's difficult to fight the existing reality. And reality is, like, do we want it to go back to the way it was? Maybe a little bit, but reality is it wasn't working that well. And so we got to create a new model for not only the world, but for ourselves, in order so that we can all work better together. And some of that's already happening. And then ultimately to become bulletproof from the inside out. And there it is, inside out. Learning to be in charge and remain in control, no matter the outside circumstances, but also to understand yourself from the inside out and how you can change anything. How, if you find yourself stuck, I can teach you how to shift that so that you can help yourself with that. And that's actually one of the reasons why I moved from chiropractic into coaching, was that I was tired of having people come to me to fix their emotional state or come to me to fix them. Now, I still go to see a chiropractor for my own body, but not for my mind. I can fix my own mind now with accountability and support. So I wanted to be able to teach people how they can be in charge of their emotions, because I was so into emotional health because I was really emotional way back in my early years. And I didn't understand emotions, and I really wanted to understand it. But I really didn't start understanding how to be in charge of my emotional health until I started this work. So that's it for today. I think I made it in an hour. Yay. So you will be getting an email from me about tomorrow. So just link in tomorrow. I'm excited to share with you, to see you tomorrow, and to kind of complete this process with you, and really just continue the learning that we've started here together. And let me just stop my share so that I can be on full screen. I think somebody had a question. Oh, I don't see it in the chat though. So where is it? Let me check. No, it's not in the chat. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I hope you had a great time today. I will be seeing you tomorrow, and start thinking about a lot of this. I hope you took some notes and think about what you want. Start making a shopping list. Like, what do I want? What do I really want? If nothing else mattered, and time, money, there was nothing that stood in my way, what do I want for my life, for my business, for my family? But most importantly, what's my heart's desire? What am I being called to do? And if you don't know, the other way you can look at that is say, well, what don't I want? What's happening right now that I really don't want anymore? So make the list of what you don't want, and then create an opposite list of everything you don't want, and write down what's the opposite of what I don't want, and that's what you do want. So just depends on where you're at. If you're feeling blocked, that's a really good way, because most of us really know what we don't want, and then you can do that. So do that homework for tonight and tomorrow, and then when we come back in, we'll just continue with learning more about how to become a new you in this new world we're entering. So I'm so happy that you were here. If you want to reach out to me, you can do that, and I'll just see you tomorrow. So thanks so much for being on the call. Bye.